Welcome to today's quick fix. It's all about perfect petals today. So this is a beautiful California poppy, which is a fantastic example of a solid colour petal. So that's what we're going to look at today, and we're going to look at colour blends and another quick fix. But let's get our shape correct first. So I'm so sorry, this flower, I need a petal. So there we go, we've got our nice petal shape. Thank you very much, flower. Okay, let's go. So this petal, you can see the shape fans out from a very, very fine point into this beautiful rounded edge. And there's a bit of a sort of frill, a bit of variation on the edge, but on the whole, we've got quite a clear shape. Now, a lot of petals can be achieved in a single brush stroke. So let's look at that first. To do a single brushstroke petal, you need a fairly large brush. I've got a size 8 pointed round here, and I've got it nice and wet, but I'm sort of damping the bristles on the rim, and then I've got my paint nicely woken up and quite wet as well. And I want to make sure that I've got lots of wet, sort of liquid paint on my brush bristles, and that I can get it fairly twizzled into a point. And by just using the tip of the brush, I can squash it down and create a sort of fanned out shape. And for certain petals, things more like daisies, gerberas, where you've got more slender petals, you can do it in a single stroke. For petals a bit more like our California poppy, we might need a few more goes. So let's have another look, shall we? Squishing that brush down. And the thing I really like is already we've got a raw organic edge there, a bit like our petal. And then we can just do another and another. And I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty great because we've got a beautiful edge that's got a natural shape and a smooth blend. Now let's have a look at some of the pitfalls of painting petals. First off, if you are using a brush that's a bit smaller, it's going to end up being a lot more work for you. So here's a size 2 brush, doing the same preparation, being very good, getting it wet, getting it coated in the bristles, but however much I squish it down, I'm going to be working a lot harder to create my brushstroke petals. And that's okay. But what will happen in time is it's going to take longer. More brush strokes can lead to the colour being a bit flatter. Also, the edge we have slightly less control, and it's just going to result in more work. The other thing is, for a less experienced painter, you may start your petal and you're going very slowly, and then you may sort of go, right, I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do my sort of outline edge, and then do a bit more, going slowly. And the thing is if you leave it too long and then you come to paint in and fill it in, you may be left with some sort of overt sort of blend lines that haven't quite sort of blended into each other like this. And suddenly you end up with a petal that, okay, it's got some quite interesting texture on it, but it's not the lovely one-stroke smooth petal that we want. So the key things are, make sure you've got a nice large brush, and then make sure it's wet and that the paint is coated nicely on it. And you can do that a few times, go into the palette, get it on a nice fine tip, and then it's all about going from tip to belly of the brush. And then if you need, you can go nice and fast, and that's really lovely. Now the other thing you might notice here is we've got a weird sort of a blend that's not very smooth, and that is because you can get puddling on the end of a stroke when you bring it up and you sort of deposit what's left. What you can do to avoid that is you can go back in whilst the petal is still wet and sort of pick up any moisture that might be in danger of pooling there. So I dried my brush off on the kitchen roll, and then I went back in, and that will ensure a smooth blend. So with that in mind, this means you can paint your petals any which way you like, whether they're sort of curling off in the wind like that, or just purely fanning out from a beautiful flower. You've got the perfect petal every time.